I want you to stop everything for a second and listen, because what I'm about to tell you will determine the difference between a life of excuses and a life of results. Right now, most people are wandering through life on autopilot, letting the world, their fears, and their distractions control them. They are living as if someone else owns their destiny, waiting for motivation to show up, waiting for luck to change, waiting for the perfect moment to start. But the truth is, the perfect moment will never come. The world will never hand you opportunity on a silver platter, and no one is coming to save you. If you want mental toughness, if you want unshakable focus, if you want to rise above mediocrity and become unstoppable, it begins with this moment, this choice to decide that you will not be ordinary. Your mind is the battlefield. Every thought you allow, every doubt you entertain, every fear you feed is either building your strength or tearing it down. The people who succeed, the ones who reach heights that most will only dream of, are not necessarily smarter or luckier than you. They are people who have trained their minds to endure discomfort, to push past pain, and to act decisively even when every instinct screams quit. They have developed a kind of inner fire, a relentless drive, a refusal to be defeated that is stronger than circumstance, stronger than failure, stronger than the doubts planted by the world and even by themselves. That fire, that discipline, that unstoppable mentality is not born. It is forged, and it can be forged inside you starting today. Right now, I want you to imagine your life 5 years from today. Imagine looking back and seeing the version of yourself who gave up, who settled, who let fear dictate choices, who wasted time on things that didn't matter. Now imagine the version of yourself who refused to quit, who pushed past every limit, who learned from every failure, who held focus when the world tried to distract you, and who built a life so powerful, so unstoppable that nobody could ignore it. Which version are you going to become? The choice is not abstract. It is immediate. It is active, and it is yours to make right now. Mental toughness is the bridge between the life you have and the life you want. And understand this is not about momentary motivation. Motivation comes and goes. Mental toughness comes from action, discipline, accountability, resilience, and focus. It comes from showing up every single day when it's inconvenient, uncomfortable, and exhausting, and refusing to quit. It comes from embracing discomfort as a teacher, setbacks as a guide, and pressure as the hammer that forges strength. If you are willing to do that, if you are willing to stare fear in the face, push through doubt, and dominate your own mind, there is nothing that can stop you. So I'm not asking you to just listen. I'm challenging you. I'm daring you to open your mind and commit right now to the process that will make you unbreakable. Your excuses end here. Your doubts end here. Your weakness ends here. From this moment forward, everything you do, every choice you make, every action you take must be in service of building mental toughness, the kind that cannot be shaken by failure, cannot be broken by pressure, and cannot be diverted by distraction. If you stay with me until the end of this video, you will understand how to forge that mind, how to ignite that fire, and how to step into a life that is unstoppable, undeniable, and extraordinary. Now is your moment. This is your wake-up call. If you are ready, if you are willing to fight, endure, and conquer yourself, then listen closely, because everything you are about to hear will change the way you think, the way you act, and the way you win. This is mental toughness, and it starts here, it starts now, and it starts with you. Mental toughness begins with a decision to stop running from struggle, to stop shrinking from the challenges that life throws at you, and to start embracing the very moments that feel unbearable. Most people see difficulty, pain, and obstacles as enemies, as signs that they should turn back or quit. But the truth is that struggle is the forge in which mental toughness is created. Every great person you look up to, every individual who has achieved something extraordinary, didn't get there because life was easy or comfortable. They got there because they learned to walk through fire when others ran from it. Embracing the struggle is not about seeking pain for the sake of suffering. It's about understanding that every moment of discomfort is a stepping stone, a lesson, a test designed to make you stronger, sharper, and more resilient than you were yesterday. When you face struggle head on, you learn things about yourself that you could never discover in comfort. You find your limits, not so that you can stop at them, but so that you can shatter them. You discover reservoirs of strength, patience, and perseverance that are invisible until you are forced to dig deep. Mental toughness is not something you can buy, borrow, or wish into existence. It is something you earn when you refuse to turn back, when you choose to take one more step, when your legs are burning, when you choose to say one more word of encouragement to yourself, when the voice inside is screaming that it's impossible. Every time you face a challenge and decide to keep going, you are training your mind to become unbreakable. Every hardship is an opportunity, and every obstacle is a lesson disguised as adversity. It starts with a shift in perspective. Most people look at struggle and see a problem. The mentally tough see struggle and see an opportunity. They see a test that will either make them better or break them, and they choose to let it make them better. Pain is inevitable, but suffering is optional. You can allow the weight of difficulty to crush you, or you can use it to build a spine of iron. The moment you stop running from struggle is the moment you begin the process of becoming mentally indestructible. You begin to understand that the very thing that once terrified you, that once made you want to give up, is actually the tool that will shape you into someone capable of handling far more than you ever imagined. Struggle teaches discipline, patience, endurance, and these are the qualities that separate the ordinary from the extraordinary. Mental toughness through struggle also requires you to confront fear. Fear of failure, fear of judgment, fear of rejection, fear of not being enough. Every time you step into the arena of discomfort, you are confronting fear directly. You are proving to yourself that fear does not control you, that doubt does not dictate your destiny, and that weakness is not your identity. Strength is not the absence of fear. It is the willingness to move forward in spite of it. Embracing struggle forces you to become courageous, not just in the big moments, but in every small decision where giving up would have been easier than standing firm. Courage becomes a habit, and over time, courage compounds into unshakable mental fortitude. The journey is never glamorous. Embracing struggle is messy, painful, and often lonely. It will test your patience, your endurance, and your capacity to believe in yourself when no one else does. There will be moments when you feel like quitting is the only option, when the weight of life feels unbearable, and when it seems like the world is against you. These moments are the moments that define you. They are the crucible in which your character is formed. The mentally tough understand that there is no shortcut through these moments. There's no easy path, no escape hatch, no magic formula. There is only the choice to lean into the pain, to endure, to persist, and to rise on the other side stronger, sharper, and more resilient than before. Embracing struggle is also about ownership. It is about refusing to blame circumstances, other people, or bad luck for your challenges. The mentally tough take full responsibility for their lives and their outcomes, knowing that they cannot control everything, but they can control their response. When life hits, the question is never whether it is fair, but whether you will rise to meet it. Owning your struggle means you see yourself as the architect of your growth, not a victim of your circumstances. It is a mindset shift that transforms obstacles from insurmountable walls into stepping stones. Every setback, every rejection, every painful moment becomes part of the blueprint for your resilience. Every struggle you face is also a teacher. If you are willing to listen, it will teach you endurance when you want to quit, patience when you feel rushed, humility when pride tempts you, and empathy when you remember that others are struggling too. You will learn to appreciate progress even when it is slow, and to celebrate the small victories that accumulate over time into monumental achievements. Mental toughness is cultivated in these incremental victories over struggle, not in fleeting moments of comfort or convenience. Finally, embracing struggle is about commitment. It is a commitment to yourself, to your vision, and to the person you are becoming. It is a declaration that no matter how hard life pushes, no matter how many obstacles appear in our path, you will not retreat. You will face every challenge with determination, grit, and unyielding perseverance. You will show up when it is difficult. You will endure when it hurts, and you will fight when others quit. This commitment is what separates the mentally tough from everyone else. It is the mindset that allows you to transform adversity into advantage, pain into power, and struggle into strength. In the end, embracing struggle is not a choice for the faint-hearted. It is a choice for those who are willing to see the invisible strength that lies within them, for those who are willing to endure what others will not, and for those who are determined to rise above the ordinary. It is the foundation of mental toughness, the spark that ignites resilience and the pathway to greatness. When you stop running from struggle and start embracing it, you don't just survive, you thrive. You don't just endure, you dominate. You don't just exist. You build a mind that cannot be shaken, a spirit that cannot be broken, and a life that cannot be defined by anything other than the strength you create through adversity. Mental toughness is not something you find outside of yourself. It is not a gift handed to you, a skill taught in the classroom, or a magic formula you stumble upon. Mental toughness is born in the battlefield of your own mind. It begins and ends with mastery over your thoughts, over the narrative you tell yourself every single day, over the mental scripts that either empower you or destroy you. The person who is mentally tough understands this truth deeply. Control your mind, control your life. Every decision, every action, every outcome you experience is filtered through your mental state. If your mind is weak, if it is undisciplined, distracted, or negative, your life will reflect that weakness. But when you master your mind, you create a fortress no circumstance can penetrate. A mind so sharp, so focused, and so unrelenting that nothing outside of you can dictate your destiny. Controlling your mind begins with awareness. Most people are slaves to the chatter in their heads, unaware that the thoughts they allow to dominate them shape their reality. Fear, self-doubt, worry, resentment, and excuses can become relentless tyrants if you permit them. The mentally tough, however, are vigilant. They watch their thoughts like a hawk, catching negativity before it has the power to take root. They interrupt the cycles of self-sabotage and replace them with thought patterns that drive action, courage, and resilience. This awareness is not passive. It is deliberate, rigorous, and uncompromising. Mental toughness demands that you refuse to let your mind wander into weakness, that you refuse to let it settle for mediocrity, that you refuse to accept anything less than control over the narrative of your own life. Once you recognize the power of your thoughts, the next step is discipline. Discipline in thought is the foundation of discipline in action. You cannot control your outcomes without first controlling the mental environment in which your choices are made. This means refusing to indulge in negative self-talk, refusing to let fear dictate behavior. It means training your mind to focus relentlessly on what you want to achieve rather than on the obstacles, the critics, or the setbacks. The mentally tough understand that discipline is not about rigidity or suppression. It is about direction and intentionality. Every thought is a tool, and every tool must be wielded with precision. Mental toughness also requires resilience in the face of doubt, both internal and external. Your mind will test you constantly, questioning whether you are enough, whether you can succeed, whether you are capable of handling. The challenge is ahead. The world will do the same, whispering doubts, criticism, and limitations, Controlling your mind means confronting these doubts directly, facing them without fear, and responding not with hesitation, but with action. It is about converting internal resistance into fuel, transforming uncertainty into clarity, and turning fear into momentum. When you control your mind, you refuse to let doubt determine your trajectory. You anchor yourself in belief, purpose, and unwavering focus, and nothing outside of you can shake that anchor. Another critical aspect of mental control is the ability to regulate your emotional state. Your emotions are not enemies, but if left unchecked, they can become dictators of your decisions. Anger, frustration, impatience, and despair can cloud judgment, distort perception, and derail progress. Mental toughness is cultivated when you learn to acknowledge your emotions without letting them rule you. It is the skill of staying calm under pressure, of thinking clearly when chaos surrounds you, and of responding strategically when others react impulsively. Emotional mastery amplifies mental strength because a mind that can remain composed and rational in the storm is invincible. Controlling your mind also requires clarity of purpose. Thoughts alone are not enough. They must be aligned with a vision, a goal, or a mission that transcends momentary discomfort and distraction. The mentally tough cultivate a mental map of where they are going and why, and they refuse to let trivial concerns or temporary setbacks cloud that vision. Every decision, every effort, every struggle is filtered through the lens of this purpose. When your mind is aligned with your mission, you develop a focus so intense that distractions lose their power and obstacles become opportunities. This clarity is the compass that guides action, the anchor that belies determination, and the fire that fuels perseverance. The process of controlling your mind is not easy. It requires relentless practice, daily vigilance, and a willingness to confront your own weaknesses. You will fail, you will falter, you will be tempted to give in to comfort, fear, and distraction. But every failure is part of the training. Every lapse in focus is an opportunity to recalibrate, to recommit, and to strengthen your mental discipline. Mental toughness grows not in the absence of challenge, but in the deliberate and persistent effort to regain control each time it is lost. It compounds over time, turning ordinary individuals into warriors of thought, architects of their destiny, and masters of their reality. Furthermore, controlling your mind means taking responsibility for your environment. The people you surround yourself with, the media you consume, the conversations you engage in, all of these influence your mental state. The mentally tough are intentional about their inputs, protecting their minds from toxic influences, negativity, and distraction. They feed their minds with ideas, inspiration, and perspectives that elevate, challenge, and empower them. They understand that mental control is both inward and outward. You must manage not only your thoughts, but also the forces around you that seek to weaken them. Ultimately, controlling your mind is about ownership. It is a refusal to give power to circumstance, opinion, or fear. It is a recognition that your thoughts are your most powerful weapon, and how you wield them determines the life you will lead. When you learn to master your mind, you unlock a level of resilience, clarity, and focus that allows you to thrive in any situation. You become unshakable in adversity, relentless in pursuit of your goals, and unstoppable in the face of opposition. Every great achievement begins in the mind, and every mentally tough individual knows that to control your mind is to control your destiny. When you commit to mastering your mind, you stop blaming, stop complaining, and stop waiting for external validation. You stop reacting to life and start creating it. You take every thought captive, every fear accountable, and every doubt as a challenge to conquer. You refuse to settle for mediocrity because your mind refuses to accept it. You refuse to let negativity dictate your actions because your mind is disciplined, resilient, and unwavering. In controlling your mind, you become a force that cannot be stopped. a presence that commands respect, and a life that is no longer subject to the whims of circumstance. Mental toughness begins in the mind. And when you master that inner world, nothing outside of you can ever break you. Mental toughness is not built in bursts of inspiration. It is forged in the crucible of consistent action, repeated day after day, hour after hour, when no one is watching and no one is cheering. Motivation is fleeting. It comes and goes like the wind, unpredictable and unreliable. Some days you feel unstoppable, full of energy and drive, ready to conquer the world. Other days, life feels heavy. Your energy is low, and every step towards your goal seems impossible. The people who are mentally tough understand this truth. They do not rely on motivation because motivation is temporary, but they rely on consistency because consistency compounds over time into results that are unstoppable, undeniable, and transformative. It is not what you do occasionally that builds mental toughness. It is what you do relentlessly over and over again that shapes character, sharpens discipline, and transforms weakness into strength. Consistency begins with commitment. It begins with a choice to show up even when it hurts, even when you feel like quitting, even when the world seems indifferent to your struggle. The mentally tough do not wait for the perfect moment, the perfect mood, or the perfect set of circumstances. They create momentum by taking action regardless of how they feel. Every day, every effort, every repetition is a vote for the person they are becoming, a declaration that their dreams and goals are not negotiable. When you commit to consistency, you develop a rhythm, a discipline that cannot be broken by fleeting emotions, distractions, or setbacks. You learn to rely on your habits, not your feelings. And you discover that results come not from occasional brilliance, but from relentless, persistent effort. Consistency also teaches resilience. When you show up day after day, when you continue to push, even when the results are not immediate, you train your mind to endure discomfort, disappointment, and frustration without giving in to despair. You learn that progress is rarely linear, that success is rarely instant, and that the journey toward mastery is filled with challenges, setbacks, and obstacles that test your resolve. The mentally tough embrace this reality, understanding that the path to greatness is not paved with inspiration, but with daily disciplined effort. Each step, no matter how small, is a building block of resilience, a reinforcement of your mental strength, and a signal to your mind that quitting is not an option. One of the greatest lessons consistency teaches is patience. In a world obsessed with instant gratification, the mentally tough understand that real growth, real achievement, and real transformation require time, persistence, and endurance. They learn to value the process over the outcome, to trust in the daily grind, and to measure progress not by immediate results, but by their commitment to showing up day after day. Every repetition, every practice, every act of discipline compounds into momentum that becomes unstoppable over time. It is this understanding that allows the mentally tough to weather setbacks, failures, and delays with grace, determination, and unwavering focus. They know that patience is not passive waiting. It is active persistence, a deliberate choice to continue moving forward even when the reward is not yet visible. Consistency also builds self-confidence. Every day that you honor your commitments, every day that you show up and do the work, even when it is hard, sends a powerful message to your mind. You are capable, you are disciplined, and you are unbreakable. Confidence is not something that is given, it is earned through repeated action. When you act consistently, your mind internalizes the evidence of your own strength, and you begin to trust yourself in ways that fear, doubt, and uncertainty cannot undermine. This self-trust becomes a foundation of mental toughness, because when you know you can rely on yourself, you stop needing external validation, approval, or encouragement to keep moving forward. You become your own source of motivation, your own source of power, and your own source of discipline. Consistency requires sacrifice. It means prioritizing long-term goals over short-term comfort. It means doing what others are unwilling to do, resisting temptation and staying committed to your vision when distractions and excuses appear at every turn. The mentally tough embrace this reality, understanding that every choice matters, every action has a consequence, and every moment of discipline builds momentum toward their ultimate vision. They do not wait for the perfect conditions. They create them through relentless effort, self-control, and persistence. Each day of consistent work is a step further from mediocrity and a step closer to greatness. One of the most powerful aspects of consistency is that it creates unstoppable momentum. When you consistently show up, push forward, and take action, you begin to move with the force that cannot be easily derailed. Small wins accumulate, habits solidify, and results begin to compound in ways that feel almost exponential. The mentally tough understand this principle. Momentum is a product of repeated effort. And once it is built, it can carry you through challenges, obstacles, and setbacks that would stop most people in their tracks. It is not the occasional burst of effort that creates momentum. It is the disciplined, consistent grind that produces unstoppable forward motion. Consistency also demands focus. To act with regularity and purpose, you must prioritize what matters most and eliminate distractions that dilute your energy and attention. The mentally tough learn to protect their time, energy, and focus from the endless noise of the world. They understand that mental toughness is not just about showing up, it is about showing up with clarity, intention, and relentless focus. Each consistent action is deliberate, aligned with their goals, and free from compromise. This alignment between action and purpose creates power, precision, and the ability to push beyond limits that others cannot even see. Ultimately, consistency is a choice that separates the average from the extraordinary. It is a commitment to doing what is necessary, even when it is uncomfortable, inconvenient, or unrewarded in the moment. Mental toughness is born from this commitment, from the willingness to act repeatedly, persistently, and relentlessly toward a vision that cannot be compromised. The mentally tough understand that life will challenge them, that obstacles will appear, and that motivation will fluctuate. They do not rely on feeling inspired. They rely on the power of consistency to carry them forward, to sharpen their discipline, and to fortify their resolve. When you commit to consistency, you begin to transform yourself from someone who reacts to circumstances into someone who creates them. You stop relying on external motivation, and you become a self-sustaining force of action, discipline, and perseverance. You learn that true mental toughness is not about intensity in moments of inspiration. It is about enduring, showing up, and giving your best effort every single day, regardless of how you feel or what challenges appear. Consistency is the backbone of mental toughness, the engine of progress, and the path to results that cannot be denied. In the end, mental toughness is built not in a single heroic moment, but in the relentless, disciplined repetition of small actions over time. Every day you choose to show up. Every day you refuse to quit. Every day you act with purpose and focus. You are forging a mind that is unbreakable, a spirit that is relentless, and a life that reflects the power of your consistent effort. When you embrace consistency as your strategy, motivation becomes irrelevant, obstacles become opportunities, and mental toughness becomes your way of life. Mental toughness is forged in the fire of accountability. And one of the most defining qualities of a mentally tough individual is the ability to own their failures completely. Too many people go through life blaming circumstances, blaming others, or waiting for luck to change their situation. They make excuses, they rationalize their shortcomings, and they hand over the power to control their life to external forces. But The mentally tough understand that failure is not a dead end. It is a mirror reflecting the truth about their choices, habits, and mindset. To build mental toughness, you must learn to stop pointing fingers and start taking responsibility for everything in your life. Every setback, every mistake, every lost opportunity is yours to claim, not as a burden, but as a tool to build resilience, sharpen your focus, and ignite relentless growth. Owning your failures begins with honesty. You have to look yourself in the mirror and accept that where you are right now is the result of your actions, your decisions, and your mindset. This is not about guilt or shame. It is about clarity. Mental toughness requires that you remove the veil of denial and see reality as it is. The mentally tough do not sugarcoat their failures or minimize them. They examine them, analyze them, and extract lessons from them. Every failure carries within it an opportunity to grow, to improve, and to become stronger than you were before. When you face failure head on and take responsibility for it, you reclaim control over your life and you create the foundation for unshakable mental resilience. Taking ownership also transforms your relationship with fear. Most people fear failure because they see it as the end of the road, as a reflection of inadequacy, or as a judgment on their worth. The mentally tough see failure differently. They understand that failure is not the enemy. Avoidance is. They recognize that mistakes, setbacks, and disappointments are not signs of weakness, but stepping stones toward mastery. By taking responsibility for your failures, you remove the fear that paralyzes most people. Because once you accept that failure is part of your journey, you no longer run from it. You no longer allow it to dictate your actions or define your limits. Instead, failure becomes a teacher, a guide, and a motivator to rise stronger and fight harder. Mental toughness also requires that you adopt a growth mindset. Ownership of failure is not just acknowledging mistakes. It is committing to learn from them and to never repeat them. Each failure becomes a data point, a piece of feedback from life telling you where you need to improve. The mentally tough analyze their actions with ruthless honesty, asking hard questions. What could I have done differently? Where did I fall short? How can I improve? They do not make excuses. They do not blame others, and they do not dwell on what went wrong. They extract the lesson and use it to sharpen their skills, their discipline, and their resolve. This continuous cycle of action, evaluation, and improvement is what separates the ordinary from the extraordinary. Owning your failures also means accepting discomfort. Failure is not comfortable. It is humbling, often painful, and sometimes humiliating. The mentally tough do not shy away from this discomfort. They lean into it. They understand that the pain of failure is temporary, but the lessons it provides are permanent. By facing the discomfort, they condition their minds to endure adversity, to remain composed under pressure, and to develop resilience that cannot be shaken by future setbacks. Each failure is a workout for the mind, strengthening patience, endurance, and the ability to remain calm and focused when challenges inevitably arise. Another critical element of owning your failures is refusing to let them define you. Many people let a single mistake, a poor decision, or a setback shape their identity. They internalize failure as who they are, and as a result, their confidence, motivation, and mental strength erode. The mentally tough understand that failure is an event, not a person. It is a chapter in a larger story, not the conclusion. By separating your identity from your failures, you maintain your self-belief, your determination, and your ability to keep moving forward. Failure becomes a tool for growth, not a label of inadequacy. Accountability also extends to your actions going forward. Once you have taken full responsibility for your failures, mental toughness demands that you respond with actio. Reflection alone is not enough. The mentally tough turn lessons into results. They develop plans, set goals, and take deliberate steps to ensure that the next attempt is better, smarter, and more effective. Every failure becomes a stepping stone to improvement. Every mistake, a blueprint for success. By responding to setbacks with focused action rather than excuses, you transform failure into momentum, weakness into opportunity. The power of owning your failures also lies in the freedom it provides. When you stop blaming others or waiting for external circumstances to change, you reclaim your power. You become the driver of your life, the architect of your results, and the commander of your destiny. The mentally tough do not wait for permission, validation, or support. They act decisively because they understand that responsibility equals empowerment. Every setback becomes fuel for action. Every misstep a lesson in resilience, and every obstacle a chance to prove their capacity to endure, adapt, and overcome. Taking responsibility for failure also cultivates humility, which is essential for growth. Humility allows you to listen, learn, and adapt. It allows you to accept feedback, adjust your strategies, and remain teachable, even when your pride wants to resist. The mentally tough combine humility with relentless action. They acknowledge where they went wrong, but refuse to dwell in self-pity. They rise, they learn, and they press forward with renewed vigor. Humility, tempered with accountability, creates a mental toughness that is not fragile but adaptable and resilient in the face of life's unpredictability. Finally, owning your failures teaches perseverance. Life will knock you down repeatedly, but mental toughness is measured by how you respond each time you fall. The mentally tough do not let failure become an endpoint. They get up to, I adjust. They learn and they keep moving forward. The more you embrace this approach, the more your mind strengthens, your resolve deepens, and your confidence grows. Each failure becomes a training session for endurance, a rehearsal for resilience, and a rehearsal for the mental toughness required to navigate an unpredictable world. In the end, mental toughness is inseparable from accountability. To be mentally strong, you must claim your failures as your own, learn from them, and act decisively to improve. Excuses, blame, and avoidance will erode strength. Responsibility, reflection, and relentless action will build it. The mentally tough understand that failure is not a barrier, but a tool, not a shame to hide, but a lesson to own. Every setback, every mistake, and every disappointment becomes an opportunity to sharpen the mind, strengthen the spirit, and rise higher than before. When you fully embrace accountability, you transform failure into fuel, weakness into power, and adversity into the foundation of unstoppable mental toughness. Mental toughness is not a product of comfort. It is not built in safety zones, in places where life feels easy or where your limits are never tested. It is forged when you push beyond the limits you once believed were unbreakable. When you refuse to stop, even when your body screams, your mind protests, and the world seems determined to hold you back. The mentally tough understand that growth lives outside comfort zones, and that to develop a mind that cannot be shaken, a spirit that cannot be broken, and a life that cannot be derailed. You must be willing to push yourself beyond every limit you have ever known. The journey begins with a simple but profound decision: to refuse to quit, to refuse to settle, and to refuse to allow fear, doubt, or pain to dictate the boundaries of your life. Pushing beyond your limits starts with recognizing them. Most people never reach their true potential because they stop where it feels easy, safe, or familiar. They measure themselves by what is comfortable rather than what is possible. Mental toughness demands that you confront the boundaries you have drawn for yourself and challenge them every time you step beyond what feels safe. Every time you stretch yourself further than you have ever gone before. You train your mind to endure more, to persevere longer, and to achieve what once seemed impossible. Limits are illusions until you confront them head on. And mental toughness is built in the moments when you refuse to accept the illusion and continue moving forward. This process requires physical, mental, and emotional endurance. Your body will fight you. Your mind will scream that you cannot go further. Your emotions will tell you to stop, to take the easy route, to settle for mediocrity. The mentally tough respond not by giving in, but by embracing the struggle as the path to strength. Pushing beyond limits is not about reckless action. It is about deliberate, discipline, and relentless effort. Every drop of sweat, every ounce of discomfort, every moment of fatigue is an opportunity to build resilience. Pain becomes not a signal to quit, but a marker of growth, a sign that you are breaking old boundaries and forging new ones. Mental toughness through pushing limits also requires self-awareness. You must understand your strengths and weaknesses, your endurance and your breaking points, so that you can deliberately test and expand them. The mentally tough do not wander aimlessly into discomfort. They approach it with intention, strategy, and a clear vision of what they are capable of achieving. They track progress, assess their performance, and continually adjust their approach to push further, stronger, and more effectively. Each step beyond a PR. Evious limit strengthens not just the body or skill, but the mind itself, creating a compounding effect that transforms ordinary persistence into extraordinary resilience. Fear is the greatest barrier to pushing beyond limits, and the mentally tough confront it relentlessly. Fear of failure, fear of judgment, fear of injury, and fear of discomfort all attempt to hold you back. Mental toughness is born when you act in spite of that fear, when you move forward even when your instincts scream retreat. The mentally tough understand that fear is not an enemy to eliminate, but a signal to pay attention, to prepare, and to push harder. Every time you push past fear, you train your mind to act decisively in the face of uncertainty, to remain focused under pressure, and to perform at a level that would have once seemed impossible. The more you confront fear, the less it controls you and the stronger your mental foundation becomes. Pushing beyond limits is not a single act. It is a habit, a lifestyle, and a commitment to continuous improvement. The mentally tough do not wait for crises to challenge themselves. They create challenges deliberately, seeking growth in every opportunity. They embrace discomfort in training, in work, and in life, knowing that the cumulative effect of small but consistent efforts will ultimately produce monumental results. Limits are not broken overnight. They are shattered through repeated action, discipline, and a refusal to accept mediocrity as a standard. This is why mental toughness is not a temporary state. It is a persistent, unyielding approach to life that seeks progress in every moment, no matter how small. Mental toughness also requires resilience when limits are tested by external forces. Life will push back harder than you imagine. Obstacles will appear, setbacks will challenge your commitment, and circumstances will attempt to define what you can and cannot achieve. The mentally tough do not surrender to these challenges. They push against them, adapt, and continue to advance. Every resistance, every barrier, and every unexpected challenge becomes an opportunity to strengthen resolve, refine strategy, and solidify the mind's ability to endure pressure without breaking. By continuously confronting external limitations, the mentally tough internalize the lesson that nothing outside can hold them down unless they allow it. Pushing beyond your limits also requires patience and strategic perseverance. Mental toughness is not about rushing recklessly toward every goal or abandoning caution in pursuit of progress. It is about pacing yourself, understanding that growth is incremental, and remaining steadfast even when results are not immediately visible. Every small step, every incremental improvement, and every decision to persist compounds into extraordinary outcomes over time. The mentally tough embrace this process, understanding that limits are expanded gradually through consistent, purposeful effort, and that impatience only weakens resolve and hinders development. Self-belief is a crucial element of pushing past limits. You must believe that you are capable of more than you have ever imagined, that the mind and body are far stronger than your doubts would have you believe. Mental toughness grows when you cultivate unshakable confidence in your own capacity, when you refuse to let external opinions, previous failures, or self-doubt dictate what you can achieve. Every action that stretches you beyond what you thought was possible reinforces this self-belief, creating a cycle of confidence, effort, and growth that propels you to higher levels of performance and resilience. The process also demands reflection and learning. Every time you push beyond your limits, you must evaluate the experience, understand what had worked, recognize what didn't, and refine your approach. Mental toughness is not just about raw endurance or brute effort. It is about intelligent persistence. By reflecting on each challenge, each setback, and each success, you accumulate knowledge that allows you to push further and more effectively next time. This cycle of action, reflection, and adjustment ensures that your limits are continuously expanded and your mental capacity is strengthened with every challenge you overcome. Ultimately, pushing beyond your limits is about redefining what is possible for yourself. It is about refusing to be constrained by fear, doubt, comfort, or external expectations. The mentally tough understand that limits exist to be tested, challenged, and surpassed. They see opportunity in every obstacle, growth in every struggle, and power in every act of endurance. Each time you go further than you thought you could, each time you refuse to stop when the easy path is tempting, and each time you embrace discomfort as a tool for growth, you build a mind that cannot be shaken, a spirit that cannot be broken, and a life that is defined not by limitations, but by relentless pursuit of excellence. In the end, mental toughness is forged when you push beyond limits, consistently, courageously, and intelligently. Every challenge you face is a chance to stretch, every obstacle an opportunity to grow, and every moment of resistance a test of your inner strength. By refusing to settle, refusing to quit, and refusing to accept what is comfortable as enough, you create a mind and a character capable of enduring anything, overcoming everything, and achieving the extraordinary. Mental toughness is the result of pushing beyond every limit, breaking every boundary, and daring to achieve what others deem impossible. Mental toughness is not simply about enduring challenges or pushing beyond limits. It is also built through resilience, the ability to absorb life's blows, recover, and rise stronger than before. Resilience is what separates those who falter under pressure from those who thrive despite it. Life will test you in ways you cannot predict. Unexpected obstacles, heartbreaks, failures, betrayals, and disappointments will inevitably appear. The mentally tough do not wait for life to be easy. They prepare their minds to absorb the shock of adversity, to bend without breaking, and to transform setbacks into opportunities for growth. Resilience is not an innate gift. It is a skill cultivated deliberately day by day through experience, mindset, and relentless determination. Resilience begins with perspective. The mentally tough understand that adversity is not an enemy to be avoided, but a teacher to be embraced. Every failure, every challenge, every moment of hardship carries a lesson if you are willing to see it. When life knocks you down, the question is not why it happened or who is to blame, but how you will respond. Resilience requires that you stop blaming external forces and take full ownership of your recovery. You must see every setback as a temporary condition, not a permanent state. This perspective shifts your mindset from one of victimhood to one of empowerment, giving you the strength to act decisively even when the situation feels overwhelming. Building resilience also requires emotional mastery. Life will provoke anger, fear, frustration, and doubt. The mentally tough do not suppress these emotions. They acknowledge them, process them, and channel them into productive action. Emotional mastery is the ability to feel deeply without being controlled by feelings. It is the discipline to remain calm under pressure, to think clearly when chaos surrounds you, and to maintain focus on your goals despite the noise of circumstance. Every moment you practice emotional control strengthens your resilience because it teaches your mind that you are capable of enduring hardship without losing direction, clarity, or determination. Resilience is reinforced through experience. Every challenge you face, every failure you endure, and every obstacle you overcome is a rehearsal for the next test. The more you confront difficulty, the more equipped you become to handle the next one. This is why mental toughness is built over time through repeated exposure to adversity. It is not about avoiding pain or struggle. It is about engaging with them, learning from them, and becoming stronger with each encounter, each recovery, each comeback. Each moment you rise when others would stay down is a brick in the foundation of an unbreakable mind. Mental toughness through resilience also requires adaptability. Life is unpredictable, and rigid thinking will break under pressure. The mentally tough understand that plans may fail, circumstances may shift, and outcomes may be uncertain. Resilience is the ability to adjust, pivot, and respond strategically to changing conditions without losing momentum or focus. It is the capacity to remain committed to your goals while altering the methods used to achieve them. Flexibility in approach, combined with unwavering commitment to your vision, creates a mental toughness that is virtually impervious to disruption. Another critical component of resilience is self-belief. When you are tested, when the world seems stacked against you, when failure and disappointment are constant companions, the mentally tough maintain an unshakable faith in their own ability to endure, adapt, and overcome. This self-belief is not blind optimism. It is cultivated through preparation, effort, and repeated demonstration of your own capacity to rise after setbacks. Every time you face adversity and refuse to be defeated, your confidence in your resilience grows, reinforcing the strength of your mind and spirit. Resilience also demands patience and persistence. Recovery from hardship is rarely instantaneous. It requires enduring discomfort, staying committed when progress is slow, and continuing to act despite uncertainty. The mentally tough understand that rebuilding after a setback is a process, not an event. They do not succumb to frustration or despair when results are delayed. Instead, they treat each day as an opportunity to strengthen their foundation, to learn from experience, and to prepare for the next challenge. The habit of persistent action in the face of delayed results is what fortifies mental toughness. Accountability plays a significant role in resilience. The mentally tough do not blame circumstances, other people, or random chance for their misfortune. They take full responsibility for their recovery, for their response, and for the future they are building. Accountability removes the power of external factors to define your outcomes. When you own your response to adversity, you reclaim control over your life. You no longer wait for circumstances to improve. You act decisively to rebuild, to adapt, and to create momentum even in the toughest conditions. Resilience is strengthened through reflection and learning. Every setback is an opportunity to assess what went wrong, what could have been done differently, and what lessons can be applied moving forward. The mentally tough actively extract value from their struggles, converting pain and failure into knowledge, strategy, and preparation for future challenges. This reflective approach ensures that adversity does not merely pass. It transforms you, equipping you with skills, insights, and a hardened mindset that will serve you for the rest of your life. Finally, resilience requires courage. It is easy to face challenges when everything is going well. It is another thing entirely to rise after being knocked down repeatedly. Courage is the fuel that propels mental toughness forward. Every time you act despite fear, every time you keep moving when the world seems against you, you are exercising courage. This repeated exercise of courage strengthens your mind, solidifies your spirit, and ingrains a habit of persistence that cannot be easily broken. Courage and resilience together form the backbone of mental toughness, allowing you to endure, adapt, and thrive under pressure that would overwhelm most people. In essence, mental toughness is inseparable from resilience. You cannot be mentally strong without the ability to absorb life's blows, recover, and rise stronger each time. Life will challenge you relentlessly, but your response to those challenges defines the trajectory of your life. The mentally tough do not allow adversity to dictate their path. They see setbacks as temporary, pain as instructive, and obstacles as opportunities. They take ownership of their recovery, master their emotions, adapt to circumstances, and persist with courage and determination. Each experience of rising after a fall compounds, strengthening their mental foundation and shaping a mind capable of withstanding anything life can throw. When you cultivate resilience, you are no longer at the mercy of circumstance. You build a mind that remains focused in chaos, a spirit that refuses to yield, and a life that is guided not by the challenges you face, but by the strength you create in response to them. Mental toughness through resilience is not about avoiding failure. It is about rising after failure, stronger, wiser, and more unbreakable than ever before. Every adversity you endure, every obstacle you overcome, every moment you refuse to be defeated is a testament to the power of resilience and the foundation of me. Mental toughness that will carry you through every challenge ahead. Mental toughness is the result of cultivating unwavering focus, a level of concentration so intense that nothing outside of your control can sway you from your goals. In a world full of distractions, noise, opinions, and constant demands, the ability to focus relentlessly is the defining trait of those who achieve greatness. Focus is not a casual skill. It is a discipline, a practice, and a mindset that separates the ordinary from the extraordinary. The mentally tough understand that every moment spent unfocused, every energy wasted on trivialities, and every distraction indulged in is a step away from their potential. To build mental toughness, you must learn to direct your mind with precision, to harness your attention like a laser, and to refuse to let external forces dictate the direction of your life. Focus begins with clarity of purpose. The mentally tough know exactly what they want and why they want it. They have a vision so clear and compelling that it eclipses the noise around them. Every decision, every action, and every thought is filtered through this vision. Without clarity, focus is scattered and weak. Mental toughness demands that you define your goals with precision, that you identify the priorities that will truly move you forward, and that you eliminate distractions that do not align with your mission. When your purpose is crystal clear, your focus becomes automatic because every fiber of your being is aligned with the outcome you are determined to achieve. Focus also requires discipline. Attention is a finite resource, and the mentally tough guard it fiercely. They understand that modern life is full of interruptions, social media, gossip, negative influences, and trivial engagements that dilute mental energy. To build mental toughness, you must train yourself to say no to distraction. S, to protect your mental space and to cultivate routines and habits that support concentration. Discipline and focus is not about rigidity. It is about intentionality. Every task you take on, every project you commit to, and every action you perform should serve your larger purpose. The ability to consistently concentrate on what matters most without being derailed is a cornerstone of resilience, growth, and mental fortitude. Mental toughness through focus also demands control over your mind. Your attention will naturally drift, your thoughts will wander, and your emotions will seek to pull you off course. The mentally tough learn to recognize when they are distracted, to regain control of their mental state and to redirect their energy toward productive action. This is not a one-time skill. It is a continual practice. Focus is strengthened every time you resist the temptation to indulge in distractions and redirect your mind toward what truly matters. With repeated practice, your attention becomes a weapon, precise and unyielding, capable of cutting through chaos and driving results. Another critical aspect of focus is the ability to prioritize relentlessly. Mental toughness is built by those who understand that not all tasks are created equal. Some efforts will yield massive returns while others consume energy with little benefit. The mentally tough develop the skill of identifying high leverage actions, those that move the needle significantly, and commit themselves fully to these priorities. They refuse to squander time on trivialities, understanding that energy misallocated is potential wasted. Focus demands ruthless evaluation of what deserves your attention and what does not, and the courage to act decisively on that assessment. Focus is also about resisting external pressure. Life will constantly challenge your attention with opinions, criticism, and comment. ING demands. The mentally tough develop the capacity to remain unwavering in the face of pressure, distractions, and doubt. They do not react impulsively to every interruption or criticism. Instead, they remain anchored to their objectives and respond only in ways that advance their purpose. This kind of mental discipline ensures that external circumstances do not dictate outcomes, that your energy is preserved for what truly matters, and that your progress is consistent, deliberate, and unstoppable. Sustained focus also develops patience and persistence. Results are rarely instantaneous. Goals of significance require long-term effort, repeated practice, and enduring commitment. The mentally tough understand that focus is a long game. It is the ability to persist through monotony, to work diligently when progress is slow, and to maintain intensity when immediate gratification is absent. Every moment you maintain focus despite frustration, fatigue, or delay strengthens your mental endurance and reinforces your capacity to achieve goals that others abandon prematurely. Mental toughness is also built through single-minded immersion in the present task. Multitasking is the enemy of focus. The human mind cannot truly give equal attention to multiple complex tasks at once. The mentally tough concentrate fully on one task at a time, giving it their complete mental and emotional energy. This depth of engagement accelerates learning, improves performance, and creates results that superficial effort cannot match. Mastery comes from the ability to focus deeply, to engage fully, and to eliminate all distractions that dilute the quality of your effort. Another essential component of focus is resilience to internal sabotage. Your mind will challenge you constantly with doubt, fear, and procrastination. The mentally tough recognize these internal obstacles and push through them. They refuse to allow hesitation, insecurity, or indecision to weaken their concentration. Each time you overcome internal resistance, you reinforce the habit of focus, strengthen your willpower, and solidify the mental toughness required to achieve extraordinary outcomes. Focus also multiplies the power of effort. 10 units of effort scattered across distractions accomplish less than 5 units concentrated with precision.